Okay, so this tutorial is on how to put your letters into your name. I'm using Photoshop Creative Cloud, so some of it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to try to explain along the way. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you're going to open up all of your images and you're going to edit them for their contrast, for their exposure. If they aren't good images, it's not going to work well. And you want to make sure that the image is readable as a letter. So this is readable as an E. This is readable as an R very well. This is sort of readable as a K. I would definitely edit some things on this, particularly right here where it's a little bit too light. So I could go in and I could burn that in a little bit. That could be an option. I could also do this in raw. Okay, and actually that burning in does seem to be helping. Okay, so the point is you want to make all of your letters readable. All right, and then we go down to our I. I is readable. And again, I would suggest doing all of this in raw. Okay, so once you have all of your letters open, you're going to go to your letter, and then you're going to go to Image, Image Size, and you're going to see a screen similar to this, but not identical. Okay, our goal here is to get our height and DPI the same for all of them. So in this case, I am going to make my image size, and it should say inches, not pixels. I'm going to make it 10 inches in height. Now this little thing here, it used to be a box that said constrain proportions. All you need to do is make your height 10, and then the width will change accordingly. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then I need to control minus back. Okay, so this is a 10 by 10 image now. Going to go to my K, image, image size. Okay, so when we take a look at both of these, they're very small. The resolution is probably going to be terrible. Okay, at this point, it's 10 inches by 7.893, which is kind of a weird proportion. So now I'm going to use this, and this says it's going to unconstrain, and this would be a little box on your screen that says unconstrained proportions. So by unconstraining them, I'm going to change this to 7. No, I'm going to change it to 8. Just do it, straight up 8 inches. It makes it easier. But notice how the 10 did not change. Okay, so this is unconstrained proportions. If the proportions had been constrained, when I change this to 10, it changes that to 7.8. When I unconstrain the proportions, I can now change this to 8, and it won't change the 10. And then I'm going to make sure that it's 300 resolution. Now you may not have a 300 resolution, yours might be 180, or yours might be 240. What's important to do is make sure that all of your resolutions are the same. So image, image size, again, I'm going to make my height 10. And see how that one didn't change? It's because my proportions were unconstrained. So I'm going to constrain them again, change that to a 10. That goes to 0.66667. I don't like that. I'm going to unconstrain it, and I'm going to change this to 6.5 because it's easier for me to think about. I'm going to hit OK. And if you want to know why I'm choosing 10 inches, it's just because it's a decent, reasonable size. I'm going to go to Image, Image Size. Again, I'm going to constrain the proportions, change that to 10. That works. Then I'm going to unconstrain the proportions, and I'm going to change that to 6.5 again. Okay, so now I've done all of the constraining of my proportions, and all of them are 10, and they have a resolution of 300 dpi. Now I need to start with my first image, and this one, if I go under Image, Image Size, the width is 10 inches. That's the important thing, and I'm going to write that down. So 10 inches, 8 inches, so that's 18 inches. And 18, 6.5, so that's 24.5. And this one's also 6.5. So that's going to be 31 inches total. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add up all of the widths. So I have 31 inches total. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go to File, New, and hopefully this will work. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going to change this to inches. Yours is going to look a lot different. But the point here is that I'm going to make my width 31 inches, which was the width. I'm going to make my height 10 inches, and I'm going to make my resolution 300. So the width is the width of all of my images combined. The height remains 10, and the 300 DPI is because that's what I've been using. Again, your DPI could be different, and then I'm going to create it. Okay, this is a pretty big document. Okay. At this point, I'm going to start with my E. I'm going to hit Control C to copy it. Actually, I got to hit Control A first. Select all, copy it. Control V, I'm going to paste it. Then I'm going to move it over to the edge. So that's my E. Now I go to my R. Control A, Control C, Control V, move it over. Then I go to my I, Control A, Control C, move my I over, and then I go to my K, Control A, Control C, Control V, then I have my K. Okay. Now I want to look at it as a whole. Can I see everything? Does everything make sense? If you'll notice, they've moved into individual layers down here. So now I can change a layer that didn't work. So I'm looking at my E, and it seems a little bit white in the background. So I'm going to find my E layer, and at this point I can make edits on any of these images individually. So I choose my E, and I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and let's go to Levels. Okay, I want that darker. I like that. And I don't like the gray. I guess I'm going to leave it like that. So I made it a little bit darker. I like that better. I'm going to go with that. Before I do anything else, I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as Name Project number 1. And don't save it to your desktop. Save it somewhere else, but make sure it's a Photoshop document. Very important. Okay, so now that I have it saved and I have it done, we're going to be doing some edits, but I'm going to do that in the next tutorial.